Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and to episode 3 of Alternative Chartbusters, where I count down the top 10 singles in the parallel universe. At number 10 it's Denim and their debut single called It Fell Off the Back of a Lorry, which came out on the Echo label. It's a long way from Lawrence's previous band Felt, as it's basically a junk shop glam type single, and they were now recording for Chrysalis label. It's clearly an affectionate tribute to the music of Lawrence's youth. The synths have a very authentic 70s pop sound, but the tune isn't really quite up to scratch, I think. At number 9 in the charts, it's Johnny Taylor and I've Been Born Again, and this is a 1974 single on the Stax label. That's the details on the B-side. This is a bragging song of sorts, but it's different in that he's bragging about giving up chasing women and partying, and his heart is almost in it, I think. At number 8, it's Danny and the Juniors and an EP called It's Party Time, and this was put out by a UK rock and roll label called Rollercoaster. The lead track, Back to the Hop, updates their signature sound from At the Hop, and the vocals have a sound very similar to early Beach Boys, I think. The pick of the other tracks is a yearning cover of the Heartbeats 1,000 Miles Away, which has some exemplary doo-wop vocals. Next up at number 7, it's the Nas and Sydney's Lunchbox. And this was put out on the Distortions label. The Nas were, of course, Todd Rundgren's first band, and it comes on red vinyl. The A-side, Sydney's Lunchbox, uses the Beatles technique of reverse guitar, but in not such a good way, I'm afraid. But you do get some great Who stars slashing guitars and drum playing very similar to Keith Moon. And the B-side ditches the Anglophile obsession, and the B-side track, It Must Be Everywhere, is actually an association-style ballad. And moving on, at number 6, it's Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, and 2 tracks which were recorded by Lennon-McCartney. On the A-side, it's Bad to Me, and on the B-side, I Call Your Name. So this is an essential Beatles-related item. Bad to Me was written especially for Billy J. Kramer, and the B-side, I Call Your Name, which was later covered by the Beatles on the Long Tall Sally EP, was also offered to Billy J. Kramer to record first. The cracking guitar solo by Mike Maxfield on the B-side, I Call Your Name, has been winning plaudits in the parallel universe. Next, it's some Australian guitar pop from 2002, Danny McDonald and Rock and Roll Records, and this was put out by the label Pop the Balloon. Rock and Roll Records comes alive with some chiming guitars and just a touch of Pete Townsend in the delivery. Danny McDonald in his subsequent careers tended to concentrate more on singer-songwriter material, which is less exciting, but this is a real pop gem. And moving on, and we're at number 4 in the top 10 in Parallel Universe 3, and it's the Style Council and their classic debut single, Speak Like a Child, which was put out by Polydor, and it's carried on in the same vein as the Jam's last single, Beat Surrender. Mick Talbot's keyboards added a new depth and maturity to the sound, and the more experimental B-side, Party Chambers, even sounds a little prog rocky at times, and the keyboards certainly have an influence of Keith Emerson. Right, and we're into the top 3, and at number 3 it's Swell Maps and their third single for the Rough Trade label, which came out in 1979, Real Shocks. The 2 B-sides are home recordings from 2 years earlier, which don't really add anything to the legacy of Swell Maps. But Real Shocks is arguably their most fully realised expression of their DIY aesthetic. The vocals betray a touch of Howard Devoto, Circus Spiral Scratch, and the touches of off-key piano by Epic Soundtracks are certainly unique to the band. And so we get to number 2 in the charts, and it's another single on the Rough Trade label, and this is by Delta 5, Anticipation, and coupled with You. Delta 5 were at the heart of the post-punk scene in Leeds in the late 1970s, and they get lumped in together with Gang of Four and the Mekons, who were doing a similar style of music at the time. There's a shared love of choppy guitars. The Delta 5 doubled up the bass guitar, so you created an almost tribal rhythm to the music, and it's topped off with some quite affecting female vocals. They were a big influence on the Riot girl bands that emerged in the 1990s. Sadly, their career petered out after their debut album didn't really sell in the numbers expected of it. The B-side is the one that's receiving all the airplay in Parallel Universe 3. If you love the Slits or 90s Riot Girl on the Kill Rock Stars label, I think you'll really enjoy Delta 5. And finally, at number 1 in the Parallel Universe chart, it's Beat Happening and Angel Gone, coupled with Zombie Limbo Time. This was put out in 2000 by Beat Happening on the band leader Calvin Johnson's own label K, which obviously has become a very influential label in the international pop underground. The B-side, Zombie Limbo Time, is the one causing a stir. The A-side is fine if you like Calvin Johnson showing off his affection for Johnny Cash, but the B-side shows off their more humorous and more rocking style, and it's a very playful number. You can imagine the B-52s doing a really good cover version of it. And there's also some fantastic repetitive guitar, much loved by the Velvet Underground and Yo La Tengo. And it's enough, I feel, to win over the coolest of hearts. Okay, and that's the latest top 10 in Parallel Universe 3. If you haven't already, it would be great if you could subscribe to the channel. It would really be much appreciated.